was marked as an exhibit from February 11th, 2015. We also marked it today as Exhibit 10. They're one and the same. And can you read, first of all, across (10/3/2014).
So Exhibit 10, it's a Joshua Media Ministries detailed statement of accounts, January 1st, 2014 to December 31st, 2014 for Deborah A. Frazier, and October 3rd, 2014, Rosh Hashanah offering $11,500.
All right, would that represent, what does it mean, Rosh Hashanah offering?
Rosh Hashanah is a high holy days in the biblical calendar. So it is a period of time of reflection and things like that during that time. So it's a service that's ongoing for a period of time.
And would that be held in Taylor?
This one in 2014 was held in Taylor.
Okay. And this indicates she made an offering of $11,500?
Correct.
And do you know if this was cash or check?
I do not.
Would Ashley know that?
I do not know if she would or not. She doesn't travel.
So the accounting of that would have been done in Taylor?
No, it's an offering. This particular one, Rosh Hashanah, was done in Taylor. So whoever made the deposit would have taken the deposit as a whole and deposited it. I don't know if it was check or cash, but I can ask Ashley.
Okay, that's another one. So based on this document that you provided, you can verify that Mrs. Frazier made a donation in October of 2014 for $11,500.
That Deborah Frazier did make a offering December 3rd, 2014 for $11,500.
Okay. Mrs. Frazier testified at a hearing the last couple months that she actually made a donation of $15,000 in October of 2014. You only have $11,500. Which amount is accurate?
I'm going to object to the question to the extent that it calls for testimony, or it is based on testimony taken in violation of my client's Fifth and Sixth Amendment rights under the Constitution, but you can answer.
I'm going to also object on the grounds of foundation form.
Okay.
And I don't know, even instead of foundation, if she would know one way or the other why, but go ahead and answer the question if you can.
She might know.
Yep.
I don't know.
Is it, in your opinion, possible that that line item is a mistake on the detailed statement of offerings?
Objection form, foundation, qualification, also asking for her to speculate or guess. And what's possible is also irrelevant, immaterial. Go ahead and answer the question if you can.
Got any other words you want to throw out there? Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Who would know that?
Nobody would know. I don't
Ashley
think.
may be able to look at the reconciliation of deposits and...
Well, when we go through and do these detailed statements, what we do is go off of what the offering of what we have listed. So it's safe to say that whatever is listed here is accurate.
Okay. Well, we know that she made at least $11,500 by this document and by her testimony.
Correct.
So the question is there another $3,500 that is somehow unaccounted for? Now, Mrs. Frazier testified that she gave a donation of $10,000 for tithing Are you aware of that process with her?
Colleen, would it be okay if I just continue the objection?
Yes, yes, yes.
I don't know. I know she gave a $10,000 cash, according to what you had me look at earlier, or
No.
check, or whatever that
Okay,
was.
no, that's a separate,
Oh, okay.
it's, that is unrelated to this line of questioning.
Okay.
She testified that the October donation of $10,000 was for a tithing issue.
It's possible. I don't know.
Is Rosh Hashanah a time when people tithe?
Absolutely.
However, she had also made, according to the same exhibit 10, donations in February and March that total $13,750. Is it your understanding that any of those were tithes?
I have no idea. It's possible.
Would you generally mark if something was a tithe as opposed to a general donation?
Without it being absolutely indicated, no.
Okay. She also indicated that in addition to the $10,000 tithe, that she made a $5,000 donation to the benevolent fund.
I have no understanding of what benevolent fund. Or
You've
what,
never heard that term used in
I've
the
heard
context
I've heard of benevolence, but I have not. I couldn't tell you.
You don't know of a specific fund designated at JMMI for donations for benevolent fund?
No,
Okay. So that just doesn't exist at JMMI?
I'm not saying that.
As far as you know?
Well, it's to my knowledge, that's a play on words. It could be her benevolence, could mean gifting or something of some
But there
sort.
isn't a separate designated benevolent fund.
To my knowledge, no.
If that existed, is that something you would know about in your role as executive administrator? What would
It's not to say I shouldn't, or I should know or shouldn't know. I don't know.
Okay. These are exhibit number 10. You note that on December 10th, 2014, that there, well, you can read across the line for me.
It says, Exhibit 10, December 10th, 2014 crusade donation for $1,000.
And does that indicate to you that Deborah Frazier made a $1,000 donation on December 10th, 2014?
That is correct.
And do you have any idea if it was cash, check?
I do not.
Is that something you can ask Ashley?
I can ask her.
Do you know if Mrs. Frazier has made any donations since December 10th, 2014?
I do not.
Is that something you can ask Ashley?
I can.
Since when?
December 10th, 2014. When the last one is noted on Exhibit 10.
Well, if anything was made anytime after December 10th through December 31st would have been listed on this statement if Ashley has knowledge of.
Okay.
This is a detailed statement.
So it would, in your opinion, then be in 2015? That wouldn't be on the statement if there was...
If there was anything given from January of this year to current, I do not have knowledge of.
Okay, is that something that Ashley would know?
If something was given, she would know.
In 2015, can we ask her that?
This is actually 2015.
I know.
Okay.
I said after December 31st, 14, because she did it on January 1.
looking still at exhibit number 10, in a separate line down here, it says Crusade donation, $12,000 Dream School. What's Dream School?
Dream School is a dream conference or classes where people learn the biblical principles of dreaming.
Okay, you know what? I think these are two different columns. Would that be right? Crusade donation, 12,000, and then a separate number, Dream School, 1,000.
Correct.
Okay, so is that over and above the 1,000 listed on December 10th?
Looks like it is a summary of it.
Okay. So the Dream School is what now? Where people...
Dream School is where people come to learn about the biblical principles of dreaming.
Okay. And this indicates that, and tell me if I'm accurate here, that the 12,000 that was made for the Crusade donation was mailed in. Is that right?
It's a summary, yes, of what was detailed up above, and it says mailed in donation 12,000.
So you don't always notate whether it was mailed in or through the offering bucket?
We do if it was done as an offering at the offering bucket.
Would the Rosh Hashanah offering mean that it happened at a what do you want to call it? A meeting, crusade, whatever.
The conference, yes.
Right then and there? Is that what that would mean?
It's possible. And the reason I say it's possible is people can make PayPal donations or credit card donations at that same time because the services are live streamed.
Okay, Okay, so they may do it during the service or whatever, I don't know what your term is, but it would be, this was done commensurate with Rosh Hashanah and that service that you had.
That is correct.
Okay. You, and I mean you in general, not you specifically necessarily, but through discovery there was a giving statement for Mrs. Frazier for 2013 that shows it was $961,000. But then Mrs. Frazier produced a giving statement showing $1,006,650. So there's a $45,000 plus discrepancy on two different statements that were produced. How do you account for that?
Objection, form foundation.
Okay.
You have to show her. Well, you have to show her what you're talking about because I don't know. She'd have to see what the two statements are.
Yeah, sounds good.
I am. Yes, Mark, I'm going.
What number are we on?
13. No. Whoops. I'm going to show you exhibit number 12 and ask you to identify it.
Okay, exhibit number 12, Joshua Meeting Ministries detailed statement, January 1st, 2013 to December 31st, 2013 for Deborah A. Frazier.
And what's the total amount?
$961,000.
And that's for what time period?
January 1st, 2013 to December 31st, 2013.
Okay, and I'm going to show you exhibit number 13. Can you identify that, please?
This is exhibit number 13. Joshua Media Ministries, detailed statement, January 1st, 2013 to December 31st, 2013.
And what's the total amount on that?
$1,650,000.
$1,006,650. Okay. So these detailed statements are purportedly for the same time period,
Correct.
but they don't show the same amounts.
Correct.
Okay. Do you know why that is?
Can you see that?
Yeah.
I'm looking at exhibit number 12. I'm not sure.
Can you give me 8?
Yeah,
No, I want you to mark it. I'm going to show you what's marked as deposition exhibit number 14 and ask you to identify that.
Okay. Exhibit number 14, this is our list of donors.
Okay, and can you read, is there a listing for Deborah Frazier?
Frazier, comma, Deborah A.
And how much does it say she gave?
$1,101,120.
And what's the year that is notated on the top of that?
I'm not sure who notated this, so I couldn't say. It looks like it was handwritten 2013.
Okay. So for 2013, we have 3 different numbers of donations for Deborah Frazier.
well, I'm gonna object because she's not acknowledging the exhibit 13. Anything related to, specifically to JMI are created by them, but.
Do you see that Exhibit 14 has the notation JMMI at the bottom?
It does, however, the date, I cannot.
You don't know if that's...
Who wrote that date, I cannot say.
Can you... Who would have generated this document?
This document would have been generated by Ashley.
And do you know what that number refers to at the bottom right side?
It could, I have no idea, honestly.
Okay, so is this something you can ask Ashley as to whether this is a 2013 document?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you need the amount? You need the amount.
What?
The amount.
Oh,
That's
the
what I have to
1,000.
ask. Yeah.
100.
120.
All right, so we have at least 2 documents, potentially 3, that show inconsistent numbers for Deborah Frazier's 2013 donations. True?
And we have 2 documents, yes, that appears that there's discrepancy.
And potentially this third one you're going to verify.
Verify that.
Okay. Do you operate separate sets of books for donations?
I know that there was a time where we would, they were putting donations in spreadsheet in Taylor, but that was sent down to Ashley to input into, she would input it into the system on her spreadsheet and consolidate it. So,
So there were a set of books in Taylor and a set of books in St. Louis?
not books, there were spreadsheets.
Well, books referring to financial records. That's just a term of art, I suppose.
There was, and everything has since been turned over to Ashley down into St. Louis.
And when did that happen?
We did that last year in January.
I'm sorry. Oh, Jesus Christ. Would Ashley be able to reconcile these numbers by reviewing the books?
Define reconcile by reviewing the books. What do you mean?
Well, which number is accurate?
So you were asking me to ask her to verify which
I'm
number
asking
is asking?
if Ashley would be the person that would be able to reconcile
These 2 documents, yes.
Right.
Number 13 and number 12, yes.
and potentially clarifying 14 and reconciling it.
Exactly.
Okay, so will you ask her that?
Yes, I will.
And if you became aware that there were errors in these, what's listed as detailed statements, if you became aware of that in your capacity in employment with JMMI, is that something that you would take the responsibility of pursuing to see what the problem was?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that comes within your job description to
Correct.
be able to know why these are the way they
Let her
are.
finish the question.
She didn't interrupt. I don't think she did. So that would be within your job description to find out what the problem was, why we have different numbers.
Correct. This is very, I definitely want to find out what happened here.
Okay. The list of donors for 2013 has a Jeannie Kim. You can see that name?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
And who is that?
She's a pastor
A pastor where?
in Seoul, Korea.
And what's the name of the church that she pastors?
I am not sure.
Does she come to the States?
Rarely.
Did these contributions of $212,100, is that correct?
Yes.
Were they designated for any specific purpose?
Not that I know of.
And is it accurate that she no longer contributes to JMMI?
Not to my knowledge.
Do you know why she doesn't anymore?
I'm saying I don't know that.
Oh. There's also a Joy Okra listed on that statement, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
And what's her amount?
186,000.
And who is Joy?
A donor.
Do you know her personally?
I do not.
Do you know where she resides?
I do not.
Do you know if she continues to give to JMMI?
I am not. I don't know.
So you have no idea who that is?
I don't.
Okay. It also lists that David Taylor donated $42,000 to JMMI in 2013. His W-2s for 2013 only indicate a $27,000 salary. Do you have any idea how he could donate more than he actually earns per year? Because you manage his personal finances, right?
First of all, exhibit number 14, I'm not verifying 2013.
I
This is
understand that.
handwriting. So I can't say what
It's-
if this was for 2013.
I understand. I'm predicating this on the belief that it is, and if it turns out that it's inaccurate, then these questions will not apply. But assuming that this is 2013 in the list of donors, that does indicate that David Taylor donated $42,000. Yes?
It does.
And you do his personal finances also, correct?
I do.
How would he have given $42,000 to JMMI? In what manner would that have been done? Would you have done it for him?
Pastor Taylor, I know, has been very frugal and integral with money. And
He has a prior bankruptcy, doesn't
and
he?
has saved. I don't see that that's relevant. I mean, I'm not going to discuss that.
No,
I
I'm
don't
just
have that was
saying.
before my time.
But when you say he's very frugal and integral with
is.
money, he does have a bankruptcy.
What does that say? Really?
Well, her question is, she wants to know how he contributed more than he earned.
And I'm saying I don't know.
But you manage his personal
I
money.
do.
So would you have been the person that facilitated this donation?
Yes.
Okay, so how, by what mechanism would that have been done?
Pastor Taylor has savings. I mean, he has money that he has put away and saved.
And when you manage his money, do you decide how much he gives?
On occasion, yes.
And how does that process work?
Well, his tithes and anything that is given to him that is gifted from another church or whatever is gifted directly to him, he immediately turns that over to JMMI.
Does he keep account of that for tax purposes, the gifts?
Well, it's not considered according to our tax attorney. That's I'm not going to get too much into that because that's like that's privileged communication.
Between who and who?
His tax attorney.
I'm asking her knowledge.
It's JMMI's tax attorney.
All right, I'm asking you and your management of Mr. Taylor's finances.
Right.
Do you produce that information to his accountant when his taxes are prepared?
You're asking if we produce how much he's earned? Yes.
How
his
much he's been
W-2.
given, as you said, by other people?
Yes, that's given to our tax attorney, actually.
And it's reported on his income tax?
Again, it's given to our tax attorney because, again, you're getting into semantics. A lot of that stuff does not need to be disclosed directly to the IRS when it's gifted and immediately gifted over.
I
don't think that's accurate, but... The JMMI list for 2013, assuming the year is accurate, says Seoul, Korea gave $118,000.
Counsel, I'm going to object. All these other contributors are irrelevant and immaterial to the proceedings before this court and have nothing to do.
Okay. What is the name of the church in Korea that donates money?
I mean, on here it said Church Soul Calvary Chapel.
That's the name of the church over there?
That was the name of a church over there.
And they specifically gave the $118,000?
No,
No. Tell me what.
I don't know. It says Seoul, Korea, 118. It doesn't necessarily say a church. This.
Right. And then there's another line that says Church Soul. Does that mean it's in...
Seoul, Korea, it's Calvary Chapel.
So there's two different churches in Seoul, Korea that are donating money?
No, that's not
No?
what I'm saying. I'm saying there's one church that's listed that gave a donation. This other just says Seoul, Korea. I don't know. There's no church associated with this amount.
With the 118?
Correct.
So you don't know where that comes from?
I do not.
Okay. So you don't know the pastor's name or that information?
No.
Okay. Mr. Taylor, when we asked him questions at his deposition, and I've asked this before, indicated that you handle his personal finances.
That's correct.
Okay. And his 2012, that's 13. Okay, do you want to, I'm going to ask you to identify exhibit number 15.
Exhibit number 15, 1040 U.S. individual tax returns for 2013.
Okay, and
For Pastor Taylor?
For David E. Taylor, yes. Mhm.
so the dependents listed on this tax return are who?
Brooklyn, Mitchell, Christian Ware, Ashley Ware, and Clifton Ware.
All right, so who are these folks?
They are Clifton Ware and Ashley Ware are volunteers for the ministry. Christian and Brooklyn, Mitchell, and Christian Ware are their dependents.
Are the dependents of so how is it, so I understand that you're the one that provides information from this. How is it that Brooklyn, Christian, Ashley, and Clifton qualify as dependents for Mr. Taylor?
I'm going to object
Okay.
to the question for the reason form, foundation, qualification, as well as relevancy.
Okay, go ahead.
Plus, did you prepare those?
I did not.
But you provide the information to the person who prepares it, true?
For 2013, the amended one that you guys have not, you insisted on getting this before the amended one was done. Those ones, yes. These ones, no.
Okay, so there's an amended tax return that's been filed for 2013?
That is correct.
Can we get a copy of that? Because that supplants this one.
Correct.
Okay. Does the 2013 amended tax return list these four people as dependents?
I don't recall. I don't remember. I'll take a look at it.
You began working in 2000 and... I'm looking at my notes if you want to help me out. feel free.
December 2012.
Oh, that's what I thought, 2012. So at that time, you were not handling Mr. Taylor's finances?
I was handling and assisting, but I wouldn't say solely. I know Ashley Ware at the time was also assisting.
And Ashley Ware is the person that does a lot of the bookkeeping.
Correct.
Okay. And what does Clifton Ware do?
Clifton Ware is more as a, he handles Pastor Taylor's like Facebook accounts in terms of postings and things like that. And he does also, he's traveled with Pastor Taylor.
How old is Clifton Ware?
I have no
I
idea.
mean, just approximate.
I don't know.
22 or 52?
Gosh. I don't know. I know I'm sure he's in his 20s. I don't know. Could be in his 30s. I don't know.
And how old is Brooklyn?
Shekinah is 6.
And how old is Christian?
Christian is 4.
And do you know how old Ashley is?
I don't.
Okay, and in what manner does Mr. Taylor provide for these 4 people?
Well, they were living with him in his apartment.
He described it as a really small apartment.
It is a very small apartment.
Are Ashley and Clifton do they receive income from JMMI?
They do not.
Who is on the board of JMMI?
Is currently Pastor Taylor, La Marcie McDonald, and myself, and we have 2 vacancies.
Would it surprise you that... Let's go off the record for a second.
You're going off the record. It
Hey.
is 12:29 p.m.
We're still,
We are back on the record. It is 2:03 p.m.
You're still under oath and all that, so you understand that.
Okay.
You previously indicated who was on the board and that there were a couple vacancies.
Correct.
What's the process by which vacancies are filled?
Well, technically we are only responsible to have 3 as a minimum. We have just recently adopted to go ahead and open up 2 vacancies to have 2 more.
Right, so you never had 5? Nobody was let go?
I wouldn't say let go, no.
Was anybody terminated?
I wouldn't say terminated either.
What would you say?
I would say it was mutual.
Okay, who left?
Pastor Taylor's parents?
I thought they left and then came back on.
No, they're not back on. I don't know if they left before, but to my knowledge,
When did they leave then, do you think?
I don't remember.
2014 or?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Honestly.
Do they live in Missouri?
They do not.
Okay. And who else?
Miss Miriam Frentz, she passed away.
Miriam
Miriam
Fence?
Frentz.
And I noticed in a document you provided us that Miriam Frentz had signatory authority on checking account.
She did.
And when did she pass away?
Gosh, I believe it's been 2 years or a year.
No,
She
not 2
died
years because she was writing checks in September.
Yeah,
She was writing checks in September of 2013, so.
right. So I believe she passed away December 13th or December 2013.
She would write checks to a place for Mr. Taylor's, or for some, who's T. Taylor on that document?
I'm not sure.
Is Mr. Taylor's former wife Tabitha Taylor?
It is Tabitha.
And what's Charter Place? Is that her rental?
I don't know what Charter Place is.
Does JMMI pay for his former spouse's apartment?
I'm going to object. It's irrelevant and immaterial
Okay.
beyond the scope of discovery from this matter.
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. Mr. Taylor said in his deposition at page 177, which I can show you if you want, but that he said there was a firm that handled all his finances, but he didn't know the name of it. I assumed he was talking about an accounting firm or a CPA firm. Is there someone that assists you with the accounting for Mr. Taylor and JMMI?
We have a third party called Clay and Associates, which you guys also have record of.
CL.
AY and Associates. And they handle our 990s. And also, they do other bookkeeping, like consolidating. Like
Do they do tax
reconciliation.
returns?
They do not.
Who does tax returns?
Well, this year it's Jackson Hewitt.
For 2014?
They're doing 2014 now, yes.
Who previously prepared the tax returns?
Jackson Hewitt's doing the amended ones that you said superseded the previous ones.
Right, but who did the previous ones?
I believe his father did. Pastor Taylor's father.
All right, and Clay and Associates, is that an accounting firm?
They are.
And where are they located?
Missouri.
St. Louis? Or?
Missouri. I don't know which part of Missouri.
All right, they do accounting work but not tax work?
They don't do our tax. They do. They do our 990s, which is they do
Okay.
the ministry's tax returns.
But they don't prepare the actual returns for Mr. Taylor for the ministry?
They do his. They do not do his individual returns. No,
But they do the JMMI returns?
that is correct.
And they're continuing to do that?
Not this year. No.
Now you're going to Jackson Hewitt for all returns?
No.
Okay. Then tell me who's doing it for
I
this
don't
year.
know. We're shopping.
Oh, okay. So you don't know. But neither Jackson Hewitt nor Klein Associates are going to do the tax returns.
Jackson Hewitt's not going to do the tax returns for sure. I don't know if Clay is going to do them. I am shopping.
So you're no longer using Jackson Hewitt?
I use them for his personal returns.
Right. And he's going to continue to do that?
He's
Okay.
going to continue to use them. Yeah, I'm going to continue to use them for his personal returns.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't understand that's what you meant. So, but you don't want him to do JMMI?
No, we want somebody who specializes in church or affiliation, a religious affiliation, to do
Okay.
990s.
Mr. Taylor testified that he gets a vacation bonus and that JMMI is paid for example, trips to Disney World or the like. Has Mrs. Frazier gone on any of those trips to your knowledge?
No.
Are you aware that he gets these vacation bonuses?
I'd like to hear the context on the deposition as to what was exactly stated.
Okay, page 173.
Section before that. It goes up. Starts here. Yeah, that's the key there, I guess.
Okay, so on page 170, question is, in June of 2013, there's over $6,000 worth of charges for the Disney Resort Hotel in Anaheim, California. Do you remember that? Answer, yes. Question, and did you go? Answer, yes, I was there. Question, and who were you with? Answer, I know it was 4 staff. I can't remember exactly who all went, but we were down there in Orlando for a meeting, and then we also went on vacation. Yes. Question, to Disneyland? Answer, yes. Question, and JMMI paid for that? Answer, yes. Question, and so do you report that on your income when you get paid for a vacation? Answer, I don't. I don't know. I'm not into that part. I have people that take care of that for me. Do you give the staff 1099s for paid vacations? That's a question. Answer, I don't know the financial. And then it just went on to say he didn't know who was there. And then I think he went another time to Anaheim for $6,000 for a vacation to Disneyland. So, to your knowledge, did Mrs. Frazier go on any of those paid vacations?
I am not aware that they're paid vacations.
Well, they're charged on JMMI's
Doesn't
account.
necessarily mean it's a vacation.
He testified, Mr. Taylor did, it was a
Again,
vacation.
but he also said he didn't know.
No, he didn't know who, how it was how it was expensed, but he said he knew that JMMI paid for it and it was a vacation.
But he said they did vacation, but he didn't say it was a paid vacation. And the reason I'm saying that is that we were there conducting business. And in the normal course of business, yes, we stayed at a resort.
Okay, I'm going to continue on page 171 with his testimony. Question, so you took staff to Orlando and Anaheim for a vacation at Disney resorts? Answer, it's not quite like that. Question, okay. Answer, so I have different staff that accompany me to different cities I go into. So when I was in California that year and we went to Disney World at the same time, yeah, the staff go. I treated them to that. And so the same thing in Orlando when that happened. Question, all right. Answer, but I'm just stopping. Okay, I'm reading this, but it doesn't make sense. But I'm just stopping, just take them there. We are having a meeting engagement, and then on the time off, I allow that to happen. Question, and JMMI paid the $6,000 for the resort charges? Answer, yes, of course. Question, of course, even for the vacation? Yes, of course. And then he doesn't remember who went there. So his testimony was that some part was work, but some part was vacation, and he treated them to that. So let me ask you first, was Mrs. Frazier on any of these trips?
Again, Deborah Frazier was not on any of those trips.
You've never known her to take a trip with the ministry or with Mr. Taylor?
She wasn't on those trips. And yes, I have known her to take a trip with the ministry.
And what trip was that?
She took a trip to Korea.
Any other trip?
I believe she took 2 trips to Korea.
And this was, do you know what year?
I believe it was in 2013.
Excuse me, but the ministry pays for the Disney World and Disneyland parts that were vacation and the parts that were business. Is that your understanding?
No,
What's your understanding?
I wouldn't necessarily call it a vacation. Yes, we were there at a resort during work while we were conducting work business in the evening time. And yes, it was a resort, and yes, we did attend some of the functions while we were there, but it was not necessarily a vacation because we did work.
Mr. Taylor testified about, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing the street name right, Timpage?
Tim Page?
Timpage in Chesterfield, Missouri. The ownership of that property was confusing, and Mr. Taylor was not able to really provide much light on it. The year that Mrs. Frazier made the bulk of her donations, JMMI used $250,000 on what was characterized as a down payment on this $2.5 million house. Do you recall that circumstance?
What year are you referring to that she gave because she gave sizable donations in 2 years, so what year are you referring
I think it's 2013. And about the same time as one or the other of these large donations came in, the residential house became part of JMMI's location that they used.
to? I wouldn't say it was around the time that she gave that donation, no.
Okay, and why do you distinguish it that way?
Well, because there were other people who gave the same type of donations. They gave large donations during that period of time, during 2013.
Okay, well, I realize funds are fungible, but it doesn't necessarily mean that those two things didn't happen simultaneously.
No, the correlation was not that this donation took place and then we purchased this property. That's not the case, no.
Okay. And you said that Mr. Taylor does not spend the night at that house?
He does not live there.
Does he spend the night there on occasion?
To my knowledge, now he does not know. He has in the past, yes.
When did the past and now, what was the dividing line?
Staff, various functions or whatever, has stayed in the night there, has stayed the night. It has 6 rooms. But he does not live there. His items are not there. He does not live there.
Okay. Do you know if Mrs. Frazier has ever spent the night there?
Mrs. Frazier, or Deborah Frazier, has never stayed there to my knowledge.
When I say Mrs. Frazier, I'm talking about Deborah.
Okay, well, to my knowledge, no.
Do you know if she's ever been there?
She's been there, yes.
For what occasions?
We've had staff functions there that Debbie's attended.
Is this a place that has a pool
It does.
in it? And were there, for example, barbecues and pool events, some social gathering
Absolutely, yes.
for the staff?
Correct.
And Mrs. Frazier was there?
She was.
Do you know how many times?
That I know of, maybe 4.
Have you ever seen the children there?
Are we talking about
Frazier
Frazier's
children.
Okay.
I do recall seeing her children there. I want to say maybe I want to say once that I know of.
For what event?
I honestly don't know. I know it was some barbecue, but I don't know which specific event it was.
Do you have a ballpark of when it was? I assume if it's a barbecue, it's nice weather, summer.
No, I mean he's Tim Page property has an outside grill, and so we grill year round.
Who does the grilling?
The staff.
So, you recall that Mrs. Frazier and her children were at one of those events.
They were. I do recall seeing her children.
Any idea year?
It would. I mean, I'm assuming, and I don't want to assume. So let me rephrase that. It would have to have been probably sometime in late 2013, or in 2014, because we didn't have the property prior to October 25th of 2013. But I just don't know specifically when.
When her children were there with her, were there services at all? Ministry involvement?
I could not tell you that. I don't remember.
Did you attend that?
The function that I remember seeing her children at?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you speak with her children?
Yes, I spoke to her son because her son's the same age as my son.
And was your son there?
My son was there, absolutely.
You don't recall speaking to the daughters?
I may have said hi or something. I just honestly don't really remember.
Okay. The children have come back from times in Missouri with some of what you call the products, the tapes or books or whatever. Do you have any idea how it is that the children got those?
No, I wouldn't know.
You didn't give them to them?
No.
You didn't see the pastor give them to
No,
him?
he wouldn't give them. Mm-mm.
Why do you say that?
Well, because he just, if we have functions there, he's usually not there handing out product.
would you say he's sort of above that level of activity?
No, I wouldn't say that. I'm just saying he wouldn't. I would not see him doing that.
Ever?
I wouldn't say ever. I
But-
just don't see him doing that, especially to children.
Okay. Mr. Taylor had a difficult time explaining the residential center finances. He seemed to think they were renting it, but maybe you were buying it, and that there was another $250,000 that was due pretty soon, and yet there were payments of $6,500 a month. Does this sound familiar to you?
Is this what he said in his deposition?
Yeah.
Can you read
Well, in
that?
some of the documents also we saw the rent payment.
Okay.
Can you pull that?
Yeah. How many pages are there? There's a lot of talking on that.
Well, while you're looking, I'll rephrase the question. From your understanding, what are the finances about the residential center property?
We entered into a lease to buy or lease to purchase agreement, but we wrote it up as a rent to begin with.
You wrote it up as just a straight lease?
We didn't. They wrote it up
Who's
as
they?
the attorneys that were involved with that.
Who's the owner of it?
Now, for the record, he did want to remain anonymous, but is it okay for me to say this in this? Okay. Harold Lewis.
And who is Harold Lewis?
I don't. He's a businessman.
Is he a member of JMMI?
He's not.
Okay, so he's not connected to the ministry?
No.
He's the owner of the house?
Correct.
Okay, so you wrote it up as a lease. Why if it's written up as a lease, why did you put $250,000 down?
We were doing it as a purchase to buy.
But you don't have paperwork that shows it as a purchase to buy, it just shows it as a lease.
A lease to buy. Yeah.
It doesn't say lease to buy. The lease just refers to it as a lease with $6,500 a month in rent.
Right.
So you don't know why they put it $250,000
Well, I know
down
why
payment?
we put that down as more of a gentleman's agreement that we were going to, and he gave us a receipt for it and said, here's $250,000 that you put down towards this house.
And when's the next $250,000?
Well, he's been working with us on that.
Just as an aside, do you realize that all agreements regarding real estate have to be in writing? You can't have a gentleman's agreement?
Not true.
Just as an, well, it
It's
is
not true.
Statute
Just
of
one here.
frauds.
No, if there's partial performance, which includes a deposit, you've avoided statute of frauds. Just one here.
I don't know that to be
I disagree
true.
with that,
Yeah.
but doesn't matter, that was
Yeah.
just, I
Again,
was
that's
pretty
total
much
thing.
aghast that
Yeah.
that scenario was happening. Whoever advised you guys didn't do a good job, but that's an aside.
I would agree with you, I wouldn't do it either. But
Okay. So $250,000 is due shortly? True?
He's working with us on it. I wouldn't say it's due shortly. I know he's working with us on it.
Working on it meaning to delay or time the payment?
We're trying to work out a deal. We're working with two attorneys. We have our real estate attorney.
Who's that?
His name is Jeff Weisling. And right
Okay.
now, and I know our conversations they're privileged as well, right?
yes, they are.
Okay.
I'm not asking you what he advised you. I'm just asking you his name. And so the ultimate goal is to purchase outright this house?
Correct.
And it's valued approximately at $2.5 million. Is that your
Correct.
understanding? Okay. A lot of the JMMI bank statements, specifically the ones ending in 3526, for example, show a charge to a Ruth Chris Steakhouse in St. Louis for almost $1,500. Would Deborah Frazier have benefited from that and attended that
I
event?
have no way of knowing that.
You wouldn't have been there?
I could not possibly tell you I would remember that. I do not remember that.
Okay. There's also another charge at Red Lobster for over $1,000. Would Deborah Frazier have attended those kinds of dinners, if you know?
I mean, it's possible.
In fact, JMMI, I think, totals $65,000 for meals on the bank statements. Would that be something that Deborah Frazier would have participated in, at least on occasion?
It's possible.
Who else goes to those? Would Mr. Taylor have gone?
He would have gone on occasion. I couldn't tell you which ones. That's just, there's no way to possibly know unless I went through every single charge.
Okay. Who authorizes that kind of charge?
Well, it depends on who went.
Would it be fair to say that they were authorized if they end up on your bank account?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And say that it's just staff but not Mr. Taylor, who would authorize it?
Myself or
Okay.
La Marcia McDonald.
Actually, JMMI had been paying your rent, weren't they?
They weren't paying my rent.
$1,600 on September 10th, 2013, check number 5861.
No, there was situations surrounding that. No,
What was the situation?
they didn't pay my rent.
What'd they do?
Okay, so I asked for an advance on my check, and so I could pay my rent for other things I was taking care of with my daughter, and it was deducted from my check.
Okay. On July 22nd, 2014, JMMI paid $550 to Elegant Jewelers in Birmingham, Alabama. And Mr. Taylor indicated, that's on page 204, that you would know what that was about. Do you know
Are you
what
going to
that-
read the deposition portion, please?
It's page 204.
Yeah, just find the specific references. Okay. Starts here. And here's the reference, and Michelle has the answer.
Okay, question. In July 22nd, 2014, you paid $550 to Elegant Jewelers in Birmingham, Alabama, dash JMMI did. What was that for? Answer, I don't know. I don't know what that, dash, I have no knowledge of that. Question, do you think you should have knowledge of it? Answer, no, I have people taking care of that. Question, so it's okay for somebody to buy jewelry? Answer, I don't think they purchase jewelry. You need to question, it's a jewelry store. And it goes on, Elegant Jewelry. And I think at some point it says that, oh, here it says, I'm not aware of that, so you probably need to ask Michelle about what that purchase was.
So he said probably he didn't know. I don't have the knowledge right now exactly what that is.
Would Deborah Frazier have been the beneficiary of that purchase? Or could she have been?
I have no idea.
Who would be the
without
person that
researching.
would know?
We would have to go back and look
And what would you look at to find out?
to find out if there was any receipts that were brought back or any receipts that were given for that, or going online and seeing if Ashley remembers.
Yeah,
Mr. Taylor was charged with child abuse at one point. You aware of that?
I don't feel like I should answer that. I want to
do
answer
you-
that.
You don't have any knowledge, you weren't there, were you even working there at the time?
Yeah.
Yes, I was
Oh.
working with Pastor Taylor.
You've heard the allegations? That's all you've heard, right?
Allegations, yes, sir.
And you were aware Children's Protective Services was involved?
It's yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. And his parenting time was restricted with that child? You aware of that?
Do you know? Yeah.
Let's just
Yes.
answer.
Yes.
Okay. And the allegation centered around Mr. Taylor hitting his daughter Destiny with a belt. Is that your
Now
understanding?
you're starting to get into stuff unless you can establish she was a witness.
I just was, I said, are you aware of that, but you cut me off. Is that something you're aware of?
I don't feel comfortable answering that.
It's
don't
just
know.
yes or no
No.
if you're aware of it. You're not aware of
I'm
it?
not aware of what you just said. Are you aware of him? I'm aware of charges.
Of the allegations?
Correct.
Okay, you're not aware whether he actually did it?
That is correct.
Okay, do you know if Mr. Taylor denied that?
I wouldn't know.
To you, did he deny it?
I wouldn't discuss that with you because it would be a conversation between me and my pastor.
It's not of a...
It absolutely is. If I and he were in a conversation with each other, I wouldn't feel comfortable discussing that.
Are you his confessor or minister?
No, but I also, have conversations that are very private with my pastor, and I do not feel comfortable saying that.
I don't think priest penitent at all covers statements he would make in terms of admissions.
It can be where it is in the conjunction of a conversation.
Do you have the order?
Well, wait a minute. The problem is that is an interpretation under Michigan law, not Missouri law. And the relationship between Ms. Brannon and the pastor would be based on conversations primarily in Missouri. And unless you can establish that the conversations took here, Michigan law doesn't apply.
The judge gave a ruling.
No, I remember seeing the opinion.
Okay.
So I understand what it is, but those opinions has to do with what I believe what happens here.
But you didn't challenge that opinion, did you?
I wasn't part of the motion. It was done before I appeared in
I
the case.
understand, but you didn't challenge it before
I had
this.
nothing to do with it. It had
Well,
to do
it
with,
applies to
there's
this
nothing-
deposition.
It does not apply to my clients at all. That had something to do with, I believe, with Pastor Taylor only, because it was, wasn't it?
Right, so I'm asking if
No.
Pastor Taylor indicated one way or another if those allegations were truthful. That is not a priest penitent type objection or privilege because it's not comments made by this witness with regard to her relationship religious-wise with Mr. Taylor.
If it comes up in the conversation where she's talking to him as his pastor and it is part of the conversation, yes, you can't bisect a part of it and say, this is, this isn't.
I'm just going to move on.
Okay.
Mr. Taylor's legal bills were paid through JMMI accounts, were they not, for the Children's Protective Services proceedings?
His attorney bills were paid for his attorney in this matter. I wouldn't say Child Protective because they didn't pay anything to Child Protective.
No.
No.
Child Protective Services, or the equivalent in Missouri,
I understand.
made
that.
allegations with regard to Mr. Taylor. There were certain court proceedings regarding that.
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Taylor had a lawyer.
Correct.
Mr. Taylor's lawyer, from the documents I've seen, was paid for by JMMI for those proceedings?
Correct.
Okay. On November 14th, 2013, there's a purchase of almost $10,000 from Amini's Galleria in St. Louis. And it's a store that does pool tables, game rooms, jukeboxes, etc. Are you aware of that purchase?
I would need to see specifics of the receipt to see what was purchased.
You don't have any knowledge of a $10,000 item being purchased for JMMI?
Not off the top of my head. I know we've purchased things, but I don't remember what that is.
Was there a new pool table that showed up at the
Of
residential
course not.
center?
There's no pool table.
Something worth $10,000. Do you know if Debbie Frazier was a beneficiary of that purchase in any way?
I wouldn't know. I don't know off the top of my head.
There's a January 21st, 2014 expenditure for $1,000 at United Pillows. Do you know what that purchase is about?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Do you know if Deborah Frazier was in any way a beneficiary of that purchase?
I don't know.
On August 19th, 2014, according to a JMMI bank statement, JMMI paid $61.12 12 different times to 2 gas stations in Southgate, Michigan. Was Deborah Frazier involved in that transaction?
I don't remember. I mean, I don't know.
What would have been the circumstances by which 12, I would assume, tankfuls of gas separately were purchased?
In August of every year, we have a crusade against cancer. And during that crusade, we have a enormous amount of staff that go out and minister to people in the streets and hand out tracts and pray for people.
Hand out.
Tracts, hand out flyers, hand out
Or
things.
tracts?
Tracts is just a terminology of an outline of what our church, our ministry is
Oh.
about.
Never heard the term.
So they hand out flyers and minister to people and praying for people. So absolutely, that's,
So you would pay for their gas to do that?
yes.
The IRS tax exempt paperwork that you've provided shows that the tax exempt status for JMMI was effective July 16th, 2012. Is that your understanding?
It was before my time.
You don't know about that?
I do not.
Okay. At any time, did you inform donors who had made donations prior to July 16th, 2012, that you didn't have the proper tax exempt designation to receive donations?
Objection, form foundation.
Okay.
Qualification, she wasn't there at the time, but,
No, it's subsequent to when she was there, that's
Oh.
what I'm asking.
well, but you just said that the date that it was effective was before she got there.
Right, so I'm asking, after she got there, was she involved in any way in telling donors that the tax exempt status was not effective until July of 2012?
Go ahead and answer the question if you can.
I don't remember. I don't know.
You don't know if you ever told anybody that? How many people on the average attend JMMI gatherings or meetings or crusades? Is there a way to know?
It
Objection,
varies.
irrelevant, immaterial, and it's also overly broad. You have to be more specific.
We can still get the answer.
It varies.
Okay, from what would you say a high to a low is?
Tens of thousands to a low of maybe 40.
Tens of thousands?
Absolutely.
What building holds tens of thousands?
Well, Liberia. We did a crusade in Liberia.
And you have a facility there that will hold tens of thousands?
We don't have a facility, but we were sponsored to come out there, yeah.
Say that again, you were...
We didn't have a building. JMMI did not have a building, but you asked if we, on average, how many attend these events. Yes.
And in Liberia, they were specifically attending for JMMI, or
That's correct.
how would you get tens of thousands of people in Liberia to show
You
up
haven't
for
been to a
JMMI?
crusade, have you?
No. But the ones in Taylor, what would you say the high to low range is on that?
It varies.
Right, but what would be the range? What's a lot, what's a little?
I would say 50 to a couple thousand.
Have you ever seen Deborah Frazier there?
Yes.
How many times would you say?
I see her regularly when I've gone.
I'm sorry, I can't. Have you ever seen the children there?
I mean, I have seen her children there. I couldn't tell you when exactly.
But you've seen her children at the Taylor facility
I have.
during a crusade?
And we have crusades and conferences. I wouldn't say necessarily it was a crusade. I couldn't tell you.
Or a conference?
It's possible.
What would
One or
be?
the other.
Pardon me?
I
One or
said
the
one or
other?
the other. I just don't
Okay.
know.
So when you saw them, it would be at either a crusade or a conference?
Correct.
Did you know there was a court order saying that they should not attend anything with JMMI?
No.
Okay. I'm telling you that now, so you're aware of that now?
Oh, I mean, I'm aware now
Okay.
after you just told me.
Is it accurate to assume that you are licensed to solicit funds in St. Louis and in Michigan,
To my knowledge,
to your knowledge? And have you ever had any complaints against JMMI, Better Business Bureau, or the Attorney General's office?
not to my knowledge.
Mr. Taylor wasn't exactly sure about this in his deposition, but the JMMI balance sheet for November 2014 had an asset listed at a value of over $1 million that was referred to as collectibles. What's that?
We had a lady donate a sum of collectibles, and she said the average, the insurance value of those things were probably around $1 million.
So that's based on her belief of what the fair market value was?
And what she was able to provide as documentation, yes.
Where are those collectibles now?
Some of them have been liquidated. Others are in different locations because there's a lot of collectibles.
In
Storage, a storage unit.
there was a JMMI bank account that's entitled Amazon account.
Correct.
What's that for?
That is for, we have products on Amazon.com. And
Oh,
so-
that you sell?
Correct.
Okay. And so you pay Amazon, or you're receiving income from Amazon?
Right. We receive income from Amazon.
Okay. Do you know offhand if JMMI revenue is up or down in 2014?
Based on what?
Well, your year-end statements, the year's over. 2014 compared to other years, was it higher donations or lower than average?
It was lower.
Lower? Do you have an idea by how much?
I don't.
Was it something that was significant and caused you some concern, or?
No, Pastor Taylor took the first part of the year off to go into prayer and consecration, so
2014, he took half the year off?
he did.
What would that look like? What would that mean he would do?
He wouldn't go to conferences, or, if he would just come out for crusades. He usually spent most of that time in prayer.
In prayer?
Mhm.
And where was that?
St. Louis?
Do you know if Deborah Frazier participated in that with him?
Participated in what?
His prayer?
No, she would not have.
No?
No.
Okay. I mean, you kind of act like I should know that. I have no idea how this works.
No.
Okay. There is what's referred to as a 10,000-man conference call. You aware of that?
I am.
And are there actually 10,000 people on the line?
No, there's not 10,000 people on the line.
Okay. Do you have any idea how many actually call in?
It varies.
From what's a high to a low?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, it varies. It's so sporadic. I couldn't say.
But that happens every Thursday?
It does.
And are people charged for participating?
No.
But you have no idea how many actually participate when you do this?
I mean, I personally do not know.
Okay. Are you aware that at least one of the Frazier children has participated in that conference?
No.
Call? Do you encourage children that are underage to participate in this?
I mean, I don't encourage anybody other than, if people want to hear it, I don't, regardless of their age.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
I said I don't encourage anybody to call other than if they want to call in and listen to it. I don't know what their ages are. My children listen to it.
Oh, all right. So your children participate in it?
My 12-year-old, yes.
Did you, by chance, give any of the Frazier children that phone number?
Of course not.
Do you have any knowledge of anybody that did?
I don't know.
Okay. The 2010 tax return said that you had approximately 25 volunteers, and the 2012 tax return said that you have about 800. Do you believe that there are about 800 volunteers working for JMMI?
I do.
And how did you go from 25 to 800?
It was before my time. I couldn't tell you that we only had 25.
Okay. Are you aware that in April of 2014, the judge in this case signed an order that said Deborah Frazier was not to donate any money to JMMI or other churches?
No,
You're not aware of that?
I'm not aware of that.
Pastor Taylor didn't tell you that?
No.
He's been advised of that, so he has not talked to you about that?
No. And define advised recently in his recent deposition. I'm not sure what you
Well,
mean.
I don't care when, I'm just saying he's not mentioned that to you, that, oh, by the way,
No, but the previous attorneys told us recently.
Don't say anything about attorneys.
Okay.
Pastor
So-
Taylor didn't tell you anything about it.
No.
Okay. So when did you become aware that there was a court order that Deborah Frazier couldn't donate any money?
I want to say the deposition, like 2 depositions ago
With Mr. Taylor?
with Mr. Taylor.
He came back and told you that?
He did not.
Who,
Objection, getting
What?
into attorney-client privilege.
well, I don't know, she didn't say who said it.
Well, but the minute she does, she becomes.
I'm not
disclosed.
asking the content of it, I'm just asking.
Well, you are by the form of the question.
So at any rate, you're aware that she's not to donate any money?
I am now.
Okay. If she were to donate money and you became aware of it, what would be your course of action?
Well, she's a grown
Objection
woman.
calls for conjecture. Go ahead and
No.
answer the question if you can.
How would I know? I mean, honestly, I don't know how I would handle it.
You haven't had any conversations in the ministry about what to do?
We've never been in this situation before.
Well, you're in it now. Isn't that kind of an important thing to know? So I assume you don't like being in this.
Objection, irrelevant, immaterial.
I mean, you've said this
Object
is
form.
frustrating and difficult to be in this mess.
I said what my conversation was with Debbie about
Right.
it being frustrating and
Right.
difficult.
I would assume that this is not your idea of how to spend your time or your money for the ministry. True?
That's true.
Okay. And you're aware that Deborah Frazier is forbidden by court order from donating money?
Now I am, yes.
Okay. So if she donated money and you became aware of it, would that cause you any concern going forward?
Well, of course I would.
Are people, for example, like Ashley Ware, aware of the court order?
No, Ashley wouldn't be aware unless we told her.
Okay. Has anybody told her?
No.
So if Deborah Frazier donated money, it's possible that you wouldn't know it at the time, true?
If Debbie didn't put her name down, we wouldn't know who gave it. If she gave it anonymously, we
No,
wouldn't
I'm not
know.
talking about that. What I'm talking about is, say, for example, she gave you check or cash, and it went to somebody like Ashley as opposed to you. You may not be aware of it, that she was making a donation.
I mean, that's possible.
Okay. Do you think it's important that people like Ashley Ware also know that the donations are not to be made by Deborah Frazier?
Objection, form of the question, irrelevant, immaterial. Go ahead and
Okay.
answer the question if you can.
You can just have a continuing objection, I don't care.
No, I can't.
I think that's very difficult to say because, you know, we believe that what the word says, that you are to pay your tithes and offerings. So you're asking me if I would tell somebody not to do something that they believe is their God-given right to do. And I wouldn't know how to answer that. And I'm being honest.
That's
I
okay.
don't know.
Okay, even though you know that, I mean, you're aware, obviously, from all this testimony that Debbie has violated that court order.
Correct.
Okay. And that's what brings you into looking at finances and documentation about Debbie and the money in JMMI. So it would be your position that it's not up to you to say anything to Debbie about it?
If Debbie pays her tithes, which is her God-given right to do according to what we believe with the Bible, how can you tell me? I wouldn't want somebody to tell me, you're not paying your tithes. That's not my place to tell her. However, I would honestly encourage her not to.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for.
But I wouldn't tell her not to believe or not to do based on her belief.
I'm not asking about beliefs, but she pays more than a tithe, right? She's donated a heck of a lot more than a tithe. True?
I wouldn't say true or false. I mean, I don't know what she titled it as, a tithe or an offering in her personal, position with God. I don't know.
Okay. You're saying tithing, you believe that that's a right to do, but, well, let me ask you this. Are you aware that Debbie gave virtually her entire financial estate to JMMI?
Objection, form of foundation.
Yes.
That's okay.
Same objection. Go ahead, answer
Only-
the question if you can.
Only recently.
Okay.
I did not know about it before.
You realize, are you aware that she had a home that was owned free and clear and is now mortgaged to pay tax consequences from cashing out retirement accounts and giving them to JMMI? Are you aware of
Same
that?
objection.
That's right. You're aware that she at one point owned her house free and clear but no longer does because of the mortgage she had to put on for taxes and attorney fees and that kind of thing?
No.
Not aware of that. Are you aware that the judge discontinued all child support to her?
No.
Are you aware that she virtually has no money left?
No.
Okay. Are you aware that she could become homeless if this trend continues?
No.
Okay. Have you ever been to her house?
No.
Do you know who from JMMI has been to her house?
I don't know.
Are you aware that Mrs. Frazier has been diagnosed by psychological exam and psychiatric exam as being delusional and mentally ill?
Form of foundation, basically. That's it.
Same thing, lack of qualification,
No.
position.
No one had mentioned that to you?
No.
Okay. I'm telling you now that she has been diagnosed as being of significant mental illness, or having a significant mental illness. Does that at all impact how you would handle Deborah Frazier and her donations?
Objection calls for conjecture. Go ahead, answer the question if you can.
Again, I would say truthfully and honestly, I would encourage her not to, based on the information I know, but I wouldn't tell her, don't do what you feel God is telling you to do. That's not my place.
I'm not asking for a religious dissection of that dynamic. I'm just asking you as a practical thing. You're going to say,
Absolutely.
Okay. Mr. Taylor said in his deposition that he would speak to the board about the possibility of giving Mrs. Frazier some of her money back. You're a board member. Did Mr. Taylor talk about that at all yet?
No. Do you have it in his deposition?
Yes, but I'm just
Okay.
asking if you've had that conversation
No.
with him about doing that. Is that something that you could foresee happening?
Objection
As a
calls for
possibility?
conjecture, and it calls for also privileged communication between two different attorneys who have advised her. So I'll instruct her
asking
not
for
to.
attorneys.
I'm not, well, she's been given information, and I'm instructing her not to answer.
I'm not asking for anything about the attorneys. I'm asking about she and Mr. Taylor and whether it's a possibility Mrs. Frazier can get any of her money
The
back.
discussions have taken place that the attorneys have been involved with, including me personally, and anything she would testify to would include information, recommendations, and other information that I've given her. So the answer is she is not to answer that question.
Broad interpretation.
What?
Okay, that's a broad interpretation, but okay.
Mr. Taylor's indicated that you have offices in Budapest. Is that true?
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know?
I wouldn't know.
On these crusades that are in Liberia, do you go there?
I have never been to Crusade in Liberia.
Or Budapest?
I have not been to Budapest.
Where have you attended crusades?
Korea. The U.S.
There are bank statements in March of 2013 that shows that someone withdrew $2,500 and $7,600 in cash from the ministry. Do you know who withdrew that?
I don't know.
Do you know if Deborah Frazier would have had an ability to do that?
She would not have had an ability to do that unless a check was written to her.
I think these are cash withdrawals. She has your bank account number, doesn't she? Because she wire transferred funds.
But how can you withdraw cash from that?
You got your banking information,
No.
you can.
No.
Walk up with a withdrawal slip with the account number on it.
No, they ask for ID. I couldn't go up there and withdraw that cash. No.
You know that you have to be at the courthouse tomorrow at 9 o'clock
I do.
for this trial. Oh, I mean this.
Oh, yeah, wait. Want that one or you want that one?
I'm both. Yeah. Well, this says that.
Oh, it's an email
I'm going to show you the tax returns. And I think we showed you one of Mr. Taylor's personal tax returns for 2013 that showed income of $27,000, but on JMMI's tax return showing compensation, it showed he received almost $120,000. And he's indicated that you provide and manage JMMI's finances and his personal finances.
Can I see the deposition where it said that? Where he
I'm
said
going to
that?
show you the documents.
Okay. But you're saying that he said this. Can I see in the deposition where he said that?
No, he said, and I think you've agreed already on the record, that you help manage his personal finances.
Correct.
Okay, and you help manage JMMI's finances.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm going to show you the, yeah, it's around here. Well, I'm going to show you the 990 from JMMI for 2013. Can you see that?
Okay.
Here's the front page. It's exhibit number 16,
Okay.
page 7.
Okay.
And can you read this line across?
This is, do you need to see that?
No, I'm just.
Okay. David Taylor, 40 hours per week.
And what number is put in for compensation?
$119,916.
Dollars, right?
Correct.
And it says reportable compensation from the organization by W-2 or 1099.
Where does it? Where are you talking about? Okay.
Is that right? That's accurate?
That's what it says.
Right.
That's the-
And then this is Mr. Taylor's 2013 personal tax return that we, that you, did you just do?
Yeah, we
Okay,
just.
I'm sorry. It was just marked as deposition exhibit 15. And can you read whose tax return it is?
David E. Taylor.
And turn this so I can read it. Can you read the number that is indicated as his wages and salaries from W-2?
It says 27,479.
Now, is this information that you helped or facilitate in any way being prepared?
This particular routine,
Number 15?
return number 15 for 2013, as I stated earlier, I did not do that return. I have done an amended return since then.
Okay. And you were going to try and see if that could be sent over?
It won't be sent over before they're done with it. So when they're done,
Oh, it's
it'll
not
be sent-
done?
It's not done.
Oh, I was under the impression it was done.
No.
What do you think the time frame is for having it completed?
I would have to call and ask them.
Okay. So is part of the goal in redoing the return to reconcile the two different tax returns with JMMI and Mr. Taylor's personal tax return?
I would say yes.
Okay. If we can go off the record for a minute, and I'm likely to next ask you about some of the Ashley Ware responses.
We are going off the record. It is 3:02 p.m.
Look at what I emailed you, and no, you're not marking my tablet.
We are back on the record. It is 3:13 p.m.
All right, just for the record, Mr. Poling has emailed to all the attorneys some of the documents that we were discussing, and so we are all pulling up on our individual little electronic devices the same documents, and we'll ask a couple questions just for a frame of reference on this, but we obviously can't mark these. So, Ms. Brannon, can you identify the first document that shows up on the tablet?
It's a deposit, looks like a copy of a deposit slip for credit.
Okay, and it says out-of-state counter deposit?
Correct.
And does it have the bank account number for JMMI at the bottom?
It does.
And the date on this?
Is July 12th, 2014.
And how much is deposited?
$5,000.
Okay, and that's cash, correct?
Correct.
And I think if you, on the top document, if you enlarge it, it circles 34 for Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes. Uh-huh.
And so it'd be your understanding that a deposit of $5,000 cash was made directly into a JMMI account that is located in Missouri.
Yes, there was $5,000 that was deposited into a JMMI account.
It was
That's-
deposited in Michigan.
Correct.
Okay. There's a phone number down here that starts with 734.
Correct.
Do you recognize that number?
I don't.
Is it possible that it has something to do with the Taylor facility?
Or a person who deposited its personal cell phone. I don't know.
You don't know, okay,
do
that
not
you don't
know.
recognize that number?
No.
Okay, then there is the second document. Can you identify that, please?
It's a cash-in debit. Looks like a just the transaction had taken place of the $5,000.
So you believe that this reflects the same deposit from the first document?
Correct.
Was there anything happening in Taylor on July 12th? Any kind of crusade or meeting?
I don't remember if we had a conference. I would have to check the calendar. I don't remember.
Although the date on the first document is July 12th?
Yes, July 12th.
All right, if you look at the second document, I believe it says transaction up on the top right, July 14th.
It says July 14th.
Could these be two separate transactions, particularly considering that Deborah Frazier donated $10,000 from the June Crusade seed money?
Different how? I mean, different than the ones that...
Well, let's go to the third document. Well, I'm sorry, go to the second. It says July 14th at 10:56
Yes.
as a time looks like,
Correct.
the way it's written. Okay, then the next one down here, the third one says, am I correct, July 14th, 2014, and that's at 10:40.
Correct.
So they're not, document 2 and 3 are not referencing the same transaction. Would that be your conclusion?
Correct.
And document 3 references another $5,000
Yes.
in cash.
Correct.
Council, the answer on the 12th and
Turn
14th, the
that.
12th is
I
a,
can't-
12th is a Saturday, which means on banking rules it won't be posted until Monday.
Right, so it would have been posted on the 14th.
That's why the dates don't jive on the 12th deposit. So.
Right, but the transaction on the typed up sheet does say the 14th.
So
So,
today would be posted into the account.
right, so would it look like from documents 2 and 3 that there were two different deposits in cash of $5,000?
Yes.
And they're both out of state. Well, if you look, the cash in for on the third document, it says Southgate.
Yes.
All right, so one is made in Southgate and one is made in Taylor. Is that how you read that? Those are two different cities.
Oh, okay. These two, just
Yeah,
Taylor and Southgate.
right.
Yes.
So you would interpret that to mean that two different deposits of $5,000 each were made at two different locations in Michigan.
Yes. I mean, if these are two different state or cities, then
Okay.
yes.
And this account number that you recognize as being for JMMI?
That is correct.
And so these deposits were made in Michigan cities with JMMI's account number for an account that's referenced in Missouri, or based in Missouri.
Correct.
Okay. And the next document is the check from August 27th, 2014 to JMMI for $7,500.
Correct.
And the signatory on that check is?
Eleonora Hoskins.
Do you know who that woman is?
Not before today.
Today you know her as
Deborah's mother.
Deborah's mother. Now, we had previously looked at the documents regarding the $7,500 that $7,500 goes in on August 27th and then goes right back out on the same day to Hertz Schramm.
On Exhibit A, it appears that $7,500 came in, but there was already a balance.
Yeah,
And $7,500 went out on the same day.
And it's for Frazier versus Frazier, Hertz Schramm?
Correct.
Okay. And can you tell me what document number, it's probably 5, right after the JMMI check? Can you identify that, please?
After this check, okay, this is a credit, a deposit record for $7,500.
And the date on it?
August 27th, 2014.
And there's a phone number down there underneath that. Do you recognize that number?
I do.
What number is that?
That's the main ministry number,
In what city?
St. Louis.
In St. Louis? And is the account number a St. Louis account?
The account
I mean,
number-
your JMMI account?
Yes,
Okay, and this, again, is an out-of-state counter deposit?
correct.
So would it be your understanding that somebody took this check to a bank in Michigan and had it deposited in a Missouri JMMI account?
Well, I know it says Missouri. I couldn't tell you this because there wasn't a teller sheet next to it or attached to it. So I
You couldn't tell
you.
me this.
Okay, so this one up here where you referenced the 5,000 had Southgate,
Right,
so
it's
I knew
printed.
that it was,
Okay.
yeah, so I knew it was a different state.
But all three of these out-of-state counter deposit tickets are the same, correct? Same in terms of format.
Correct, yes.
So based on that, would you conclude that this was an out-of-state deposit made in Michigan for the benefit of JMMI's account in Missouri?
It definitely was deposited into JMMI's account
Okay.
in Missouri.
And it was out-of-state?
It
Based
does
on the
say-
ticket.
It does say out of state, yes.
Okay. Did you send me anything else?
Oh, this morning, you already got the hard copy, so. Today, I sent you this morning, so you have copies of those.
Can we go off the record for a minute?
We're going off the record. It is 3:24 p.m. We are back on the record. It is 3:25 p.m.
We had talked about questions for you to ask back at the headquarters of JMMI and your bookkeeper. One of them was the difference on the October 2014 donations where Deborah Frazier testified she gave $15,000 and you have listed on her detailed statement for 2014 $11,500. Were you able to resolve that discrepancy?
I spoke to Ashley Ware, and she stated that we received $11,500 in cash, not $15,000. We are not able to locate where we received the additional amount.
Okay. Even
If-
though
if
you're
we
aware
did.
that Deborah Frazier testified that she gave $15,000.
I'm aware of that today, what you
Okay.
shared with me, but we do not have record of that.
Okay. The December 10th, 2014 donation of $1,000. We asked for documentation or a copy of the check or whatever it was, and what's your understanding of that?
For the December 10th, 2014 contribution of $1,000, Ashley Ware stated that was cash.
And was it a direct deposit into an account, if you know, or was it a donation hand to hand?
I don't know, neither did Ashley.
But your bookkeeping indicates that it was a cash donation,
Correct.
not check. Okay, and 2015 donations?
No, we did not have any donations
Any
for
record for
2015.
2015?
Correct.
Okay, the amended tax return, you don't have that, that's in the process?
Correct.
The three documents regarding 2013 that we were trying to reconcile, that were three different ones, and I think the question was if that one that was marked was actually from 2013 or not.
Ashley stated she would need to see the document, and she never handwrites anything on there that says it was 2013 or whatever.
I have a feeling Mr. Frazier wrote that when he pulled it from a stack. Is it possible for you to take a photo of it and send it to her and ask her if that's a document from JMMI for that year?
Absolutely. I don't have my phone though, so I can't.
Oh, I'm sure Mr. Poling can assist you in that. One of these, on these detailed statements, there's a column marked tax, and I think you were going to ask Ms. Ware what that meant.
Yes, Ashley Ware stated that tax meant, yes, it was tax deductible.
And then therefore put on the statement?
Correct.
Okay. And then the other question was about the July 12th.
I think we already answered those.
I think, on my phone. So the July 12th, 2014 donation that's listed as a crusade donation, even though it's marked for June, that's one and the same. I'm going to show you. That was the promise seed that we talked about in June from the crusade, actually paid in July.
Correct.
Okay, and based on what we just looked at, those were two deposits of $5,000 each made in Michigan cities for the benefit of JMMI and their account in Missouri.
There was correct. That is
Okay.
correct. Yes.
I think you're better off trying to send her the two.
Why don't we go off the record for a minute and
Yep.
Mr. Dutuman and I are going to talk, and I'm going to take off this. I finally have.
We are going off the record. It is 3:30 p.m.
Come on, Michelle, what's happening? Now, I'm going to say this. I understand that $70 is all you have, but some of y'all are so cheap. Some of y'all can sow way more than that. You understand? You're so cheap. You can give more. Some of you are giving 1,000 when you can give 10,000. Go ahead, Michelle. Tell about the weight loss.
Yes, sir. It
Y'all
was
guys
so
should be
amazing,
switching.
Apostle.
Y'all making me look fat up here. Don't get me from the side. Get me from the front.
Yes, sir. So this lady, when she called in literally on the phone, while she was getting this prayer of agreement, while she called into the supernatural prayer line, weight started to go off her body. And I am not exaggerating.
What?
She said her shirt, yes, sir. Her shirt started getting loose. She said her pants. She said she lost so much weight by the time she woke up the next day, her pants were falling down off of her. She couldn't
What?
wear the same size.
Amazing. Did y'all hear that? I'm telling you, call in for your weight loss miracle. Now, supernatural weight loss. Now, I believe in eating right and doing all of that, even though I haven't been doing some of that right now. But I'm telling you, sometimes we need divine assistance. That's what I call miracles. We need divine assistance, and God, I receive it in Jesus' name too. Listen, call in for the weight loss miracle now. If you want to lose weight supernaturally, call in, sow a seed with it. Don't just call in and you know you can sow something and won't sow something right now. Give and it shall be given to you.
You know, talk about his belts and his suits and things like that. So what? He's worthy of that and much more. Who cares? Right. We want to bless the man of God with everything. We want, because he's blessed our lives. Do you know, by him paying a price, many things that he's gone through, we don't have to go through. We don't have to go back and study all these glory things. He's given us the revelation and teaching us, so we don't have to try to wait for years and years to get this revelation. That's worthy of honor. That's worthy of being able to say, you know what, I want to bless this kingdom. I want to bless this movement. I want to sow back into it. Bishop Scott, I got to tell you this. The lady, it was a lady actually that was supposed to be obedient yesterday, and I'll have to discuss that with you guys offline, but, you know, after the fact, afterwards, she didn't realize, you know, she heard it, but she didn't realize, wow, I should have been obedient with the 50,000. Well, now you weren't obedient in the 50, guess what? God gonna probably require you to give the 100.
Wow.
I'm telling you. And even those, and I just want to say this one last thing if you guys don't mind, but even those people, you know, who have turned or whatever, listen, who cares? You know, if that's where your heart is, I feel sorry for you, but you still have to pay your vow. If you made a vow, you still have to pay because God requires it. So I'm just telling you, you still have to pay your vow because you made it to God. Amen.
Someone just had a visitation from Jesus in heaven, and he took them to hell and showed many people in hell. I'm talking about Christians who didn't pay their tithes.
Too many times people get fickle, funny about their money. They're like, oh man, okay, there it goes. You get uncomfortable. That's a devil. If you get any kind of uncomfortable, you feel any kind of squirming in you, it's a devil. You need to rebuke it and keep going because he's trying to keep you from your blessing. So right now we're giving you an opportunity to come forward and give an offering unto God, unto the Most High. And you need to just trust in him no matter what happens, that it's going into the best, most integral place on earth, God's kingdom, and it will be used. As you can even see, look around, everything is used for the kingdom.
Amen.
Everything is used to reach souls.
Yes.
You have a part in that. So put your offering in and let it be sacrificial. Don't be stingy to God, because he ain't stingy with us.
Yes.
If you feel uncomfortable, I'm sorry, I don't care.
That's
you
right.
better shake that devil loose, and you better put something down in the offering because it's for you, not for us. And every single person in here should be giving something. I don't care if you don't have but a nickel, you put that in there.
Where's David? Where's Mr. Taylor? Where's Mr. Taylor?
Don't call him David, and I don't owe you any explanation.
A cult disguised as a church?